Alright, so I'm out here working on the Husqvarna again. I bought it used, but seems like every time I go to mow there's something that's going on. A time ago I had to replace the spring because it broke. Belts came off, belts got chewed up. Then the next time it stopped moving. Turns out the pulleys for the drive belt were chewed up as well, probably to do with the other belt coming off and messing with them. So I replaced those. This time I go to start it, no start. Put some ether in, it started up, so that means I've got power. The spark going through there, so that eliminates that part of it. So now it's a fuel delivery issue. I've known that this line back here was old. I just hadn't gotten around to replacing it yet. That's the new one. And it takes about 4 feet, 1/4 inch line. I bought this from Amazon. It's relatively cheap, so it's probably going to need to be replaced again in a couple years. But we'll see how that goes. My thought was the old line was worn out on the inside, corroded, eaten up, passing things to the carburetor, causing the carburetor to foul. And I did that. On taking this clamp off and trying to get this out, this came up. And I wasn't planning on that, but it did. And this is that piece right here. It's very short. It's got a hard plastic bit here, and then the 90-degree that the hose connects to, but this had deteriorated, and trying to put it back in was not going in because it was messed up. And even if I did get it back in, it's no longer going to have a proper seal and allow dirt and stuff like that to get in there. So before you attempt replacing your hose, go to Amazon or anywhere and get a replacement for this. The replacement I bought was much longer, still hard plastic. It was clear instead of black. It's like $8, but the top was the same. So when it got in, I just cut it to length, put a little bit of grease around the around the rubber bit, pushed it in. The old belt or hose, I taped the other end to this end on the old hose with the clamps and a splitter in there so that it would stay together. And then I came around to the engine compartment and I just began to pull this hose. I got about halfway and it got hung up, and right about here underneath inside the frame rail is a clamp, and I just had to reach up under and kind of finagle that a little bit to allow the hose with the clamps to come through. It was big enough for me on this unit. Once I did that, I just continued to pull, got the new line out, untaped it, of course, new clamps, put it on. So thinking I'm golden, try to start it, again, no start. Also, I noticed when I would try to start, the motor would hang a little bit, as if you had a dead battery, and then it would spin, and then it would catch and spin. So I knew that was my valve adjustment. I ordered a carburetor kit because I figured that old hose might have been coming apart, and somehow something might have got past. These are relatively new here and here. And the carburetor kit for this particular carburetor, it's a Nicky, and you can get it on Amazon for about $19. And it comes with the important O-ring for the jet. So that's something that's important. I think, let me see what the part number is. Hang on. So my packaging doesn't have that part number that I searched for, but on Amazon there's the part number here that you may be able to cross-reference through them to buy it. And the important thing here is it comes with that little O-ring for the jet. So if you haven't rebuilt your carb in a while, that O-ring would need to be replaced. And when you're taking this carburetor apart, it's easy for that jet to fall out if you're not expecting it and get lost. So be careful when you're pulling it apart. Make sure you're on a table or a flat surface where when things come out, you can find it again, because this kit does not come with that jet. So, but again, 19 bucks, not a big deal. There's a Walbro carburetor that you could buy on Amazon for probably around $20 or so. Up to you, whichever you want to do. My carburetor works fine, so rebuilding it is not a big issue for me. I rebuilt it about 2 or 3 years ago and it was running fine, but I put this in line and I run it out of fuel every time I park it to prevent the fuel sitting in the lines and the bowl as much as possible, because there's still going to be a little bit in there, and ethanol is bad, but it's not going to be as bad as if it was sitting full of the fuel. But that's just me. So anyways, I come out here to do my valve lash, and as I'm looking down here for the size of wrench I'm going to need, which on this unit is a 3/8, or I think it's 3/8 or 5/8. 3/8. It's a Husqvarna tractor, but it's got a John Deere motor in it, which obviously they're still just Briggs and Stratton, but different configurations. It's the V-twin overhead valve, 21 horsepower. So it's the same as about most things, but this one does have a fuel pump. And this line right here, as I got to looking, I can see that there's a hole in that. It's coming separated. This line's not that old. It was not something I expected to go bad. So I wasn't thinking about it, to be honest. But since that can't create a vacuum, that's likely my whole issue. But the valves need to be adjusted anyways, so there it is. But thankfully I looked at that before going in and rebuilding the carburetor, because I'm likely not going to need to rebuild the carburetor, so I can save that kit for a later day. So those are some of the things to look for if you're experiencing problems on the same type of unit as well. Lots of videos out there on how to rebuild that carburetor, take it off, things like that, so I'm not going to get into that. But I just thought it was helpful to point this out before you go in and start removing lines and things like that if it's not really necessary. Really important part right here. On Amazon, they're on Amazon as well, and there's a couple of different ones that look similar. This has got a 90 coming out of here, up over, and then a 90 coming up to the pump. Some of them only have that 190. You might be able to get it to bend okay and not be cut off as much, but it's better to get the right part. This is what it looks like. And again, notice it's not short. I mean, I don't have a banana for size, but you know, there's my finger, so it's not that big. But again, right here it's got the 90 down and another 90 going up. That's important. So when getting that part to replace it, just make sure you get that. For whatever reason, I always get the wrong part because I'm not paying attention. Hopefully next time I'll get the right ones, but that's likely what's going to be my problem. I hope this helps.